Against the backdrop of the India-US trade deal, a political storm has erupted in Parliament. In a very, very highly unusual news development, the Prime Minister skipped his address in the Lok Sabha, and the Speaker said he had asked him to do so because he apprehended that Congress MPs, I'm quoting the Speaker here, quote, might try something. The Prime Minister then moved his address to the Rajya Sabha, where, apart from replying to the President's address, he launched a scathing attack on Rahul Gandhi, the Congress, and the opposition. He made a reference to how the opposition wanted to see harm come to him. He directly challenged Rahul Gandhi on his famous slogan, Mohabbat ki dukaan, and said, ye kaun si mohabbat ki dukaan hai ki Congress ke karyakarmon mein Modi ki kabar khodne ke program banaye ja rahe hain. He went on to attack Rahul Gandhi directly for Mr. Gandhi's swipe at a former Congress colleague, Ravneet Bitu, where Rahul Gandhi had used the word traitor as Bitu walked past him on the steps of Parliament. The Prime Minister called it an insult to all Sikhs. There's a lot to talk about as the political temperatures escalate. Rahul Gandhi has targeted the Prime Minister for the trade deal and called him compromise. We've also seen books versus books battle playing out in Parliament. I'm Barkha, you're with the Mojo story. On the program today, the Prime Minister skipped his Lok Sabha speech because the Speaker asked him to do so. Apprehending the Speaker says that Congress MPs might try something. Priyanka Gandhi rubbished the allegation that any physical attack would have been directed towards the Prime Minister, saying protests from the floor were part of the opposition's right. But the opposition did not stay in the House eventually for the Prime Minister's speech in Rajya Sabha, a speech where the Prime Minister directly targeted the Congress party and other members of the opposition. In particular, training his guns at Rahul Gandhi, who has been calling the Prime Minister compromised and attacking him for the trade deal with America and Donald Trump. The Prime Minister made a reference to Rahul Gandhi's comments against Ravneet Bitu, a former congressman. Rahul Gandhi called him a traitor and offered his hand to shake him as Bitu walked past. Bitu refused to shake his hands. Modi said this was an insult to all Sikhs. We've also seen Mr. Gandhi flashing the book that you see on your screen, a book that he says is the unpublished memoir of former Army Chief General Naravne. The BJP has reacted by bringing their own books to Parliament. Nishikant Dubey has been talking about books that deal with a purported relationship between Jawaharlal Nehru and Edwina Mountbatten. As things get murky, the Prime Minister, in a long and lengthy attack, also made a reference to how the Congress encouraged workers who spoke about digging the grave of the Prime Minister. What should or may have been a discussion about foreign policy and the trade deal, details of which are still awaited, has now fast descended into absolutely murky and personal territory. Let me introduce our guest today as we try and unpack all that has happened in Parliament. In fact, a lot has happened. Dilip Cherian, political analyst, brand guru, is with us. Welcome, Dilip, to the program. Sugata Srinivas Raju, author and senior journalist, is with us. Tehseen Poonawala, analyst and Congress supporter, is with us. Sandeep Ghosh, political analyst and supporter of the Prime Minister, is with us. Senior journalist Madhavan Narayan is with us as well. I want to start straight away by playing out the Prime Minister's comments where he targeted Rahul Gandhi for using the word traitor for Ravneet Bitu.
आदरणीय सभापति जी, कल जो घटना घटी, इसी सदन के एक माननीय सांसद कांग्रेस के शातिर दिमाग जिनका है ऐसे युवराज ने उनको गद्दार कह दिया। अहंकार कितनी सातवें आसमान पर पहुंच चुका है इनका। और कांग्रेस को छोड़कर के कितने ही लोग निकले हैं, कांग्रेस के कितने टुकड़े हुए हैं, कई लोग दूसरे दलों में गए हैं, लेकिन औरों को तो किसी को गद्दार नहीं कहा उन्होंने। लेकिन कल सांसद को गद्दार इसलिए कहा क्योंकि वो सिख थे। ये सिखों का अपमान था, ये गुरुओं का अपमान था। और कांग्रेस के अंदर जो कूट कूट करके सिखों के प्रति नफरत भरी पड़ी है ना, उसका वो अभिव्यक्ति थी। और इसी सदन के माननीय सांसद है वो, और उनको जरा भी दर्द नहीं, वरना आज खड़े होकर के कह सकते थे कि कल जो हुआ इसी सांसद की गरिमा के अनुरूप नहीं था, हमें खेद है, एक शब्द तो बोल लेते। लेकिन सिखों के प्रति उनके मन में जो नफरत भरी पड़ी है, और इसी के कारण उन्होंने कल, और जिसका परिवार देश के लिए शहादत देने वाला परिवार के वो सदस्य है, उन्हें अपने राजनीतिक विचारों में परिवर्तन किया, इसलिए गद्दार हो गए।
All right, let's get started. Tehseen, I'll start with you. One from all of us, we hope your mother is making a very speedy recovery. Terrible attack on her in Pune, and we wish you and her all the very best from all of us.
Thank you.
Because you have to leave a little early, I'll start with you. The Prime Minister had two big areas of attack. One was on what Mr. Gandhi said about Mr. Bitu, and the other was referencing Congress workers who have raised slogans about, Prime Minister says, Modi ki kabar khodni chahiye. And when you juxtapose this with the fact that Speaker Om Birla asked the Prime Minister to skip his address in the Lok Sabha, do you think Rahul Gandhi provided unnecessary fodder to the BJP with his comments on Ravneet Bitu?
Barkha, thank you so much for having me on the show, and thank you for the wishes for my mother. I'll convey it to her. Two aspects. If Parliament does not work, I have said this multiple times, it benefits the BJP because we have serious issues to get the BJP on the ground in. For example, the trade deal, as you rightly put it. The trade deal being announced by President Trump, whatever reasons Piyush Goyal might give, the apology of a press conference Piyush Goyal ji had, where it seemed to be so bitter and he had nothing to say or any specifics about the deal. No reason why America is announcing we will not buy oil from Russia, whatever else and however else you spin it, we know that numbers come down of oil that we're buying from Russia. So we could have got the government on the mat. Believe me, we still don't know what's plan B in Bangladesh, Syria, etc. This government escapes every parliament session. Now let's come to what happened with the Prime Minister before we come to Rahul Gandhi ji. So Rahul Gandhi got a book or an unpublished book, a report. We all know that this particular excerpts of what Rahul Gandhi ji was saying was already put out by PTI because the book was supposed to release in December 2025. We also know a lot of websites, etc., carried these pieces. So I don't know why suddenly the caravan carried it, Rahul ji saw it, but it was already in public domain. Third, if you actually read what was in both in that piece and otherwise in the book, the generals actually praised the Prime Minister. I mean, the Prime Minister in 2 hours told him, go ahead and do what you want. And in that particular attack that the Honorable LOP is speaking about, actually we took the height. So I don't know why the BJP prevented him from speaking. It was actually an advantage BJP. So I don't even know if the Congress advisors to Rahul Gandhi actually read that article because they have no idea of what actually that article said. It was called Operation Snow Leopard and we actually took the heights. So I don't know why Amit Shah ji and Rajnath Singh ji stopped the LOP from speaking. Now, to what Om Birla ji said. He said, look, the Prime Minister could have been attacked physically. If my chachi had a prominent Adam's apple, she could be my chacha, but she doesn't. Therefore, she's my chachi. Now, if there was any attack on the Prime Minister, that would have been on camera one. Number two, the fact of the matter is, Parliament MPs have immunity from speaking, not from physical violence. For example, if an MP were to misbehave with a woman physically, that would amount to being charged. If you physically abuse somebody or hurt somebody, including the Honorable Prime Minister, that's a criminal offense you don't have immunity for. So how would the Prime Minister be attacked hypothetically? And if the Speaker had knowledge of the Prime Minister being attacked, he is duty bound to give us the names, not via sources. Not via sources, but the names that XYZ women MPs were planning to attack the Prime Minister and harm him. Now, the last part of Rahul Gandhi ji's behavior. I love the Congress. I love standing up for the Congress. I vote the Congress. But his advisors need to grow up. This looked bad, that image. Look, whatever his interactions with Ravneet Bitu, it looked bad. It looked like those interactions looked like a bunch of kids were out. They were out of class. And Rahul ji came there and Bitu was going and it looked like a scrap between school kids. Except this is the Parliament of India. And Rahul ji is the LOP. It does not behove him, and I've said this. Those guys around him who are laughing, giggling, acting, you really need a mature opposition now in the country. We can hold this government. People are pissed off with this government. So those images also looked very bad, and that's the real truth. And I'm saying this because I vote the Congress.
So I think what you're saying, before I go to Dilip, is you believe that if the speaker thinks that anybody was going to physically harm the prime minister, because of which the speaker asked the prime minister not to come to the Lok Sabha, the speaker is duty bound to name those. So there you
Yes,
disagree with the speaker. You disagree with
yes,
the opposition strategy of bringing parliament in a sense to a, you basically believe if parliament doesn't function, it only helps the BJP because the BJP escapes
yes,
hard questions. Two, and three, you believe that whoever advised Rahul Gandhi, maybe it was he himself, to make that throwaway remark clearly targeted at Bitu for being a traitor to the Congress and not a traitor to
yes,
Sikh. But of course, the BJP
yes.
has taken it and used it as a political issue. You believe Rahul Gandhi or his advisors made a mistake on that one. Yes? Is that a fair
Yeah,
summation?
yeah. I mean, the Bittu thing, the remark was on him leaving the party, and it wasn't. It was more like he was saying, you will have to come back to our party." But look, you are the LOP. You don't have to indulge with every member of parliament or MOS. Just you must have a certain stature, like you must have a certain aura, and those around Rahulji laughing, giggling, they laugh. It doesn't look good. You tell me, Barkha, honestly, how did those visuals look? Would you expect an Arun Jaitley ji, a Sushma Swaraj ji, or when Congress was in opposition, a Manmohan Singh ji, Sonia ji doing this? It doesn't
I'll tell
look
you,
good. They're laughing, giggling. There was a sorry, one line. There was a senior MP behind who was asking Rahul ji, "Don't do it." In those things, it doesn't look good. I personally feel. I think Parliament की एक गरिमा होती है. We must maintain it.
So, yeah,
Both
Dilip,
sides.
so let me pick up Tessie's last point and take that to Dilip. What I thought when I saw Rahul Gandhi make that off-the-cuff remark as Mr. Bitu walked past was whether he would have made a similar remark to a Jyotiraditya Scindia or a Milind Deora, or was there some sort of, I don't know, class dimension or some other dimension here, or did he consider Mr. Bittu somebody he could make the remark to and get away? Either way, he seems to have provided the BJP a kind of narrative on Sikhs, which even the Prime Minister has picked up, point one. Point two, do you agree with Tehseen that there are questions to be asked about, for example, this trade deal? You've had Mr. FM Jaishankar say today that Piyush Goyal has to answer those questions. You've had the MEA formally deny a Bloomberg story on Mr. Doval having been part of meetings in Washington. There are questions to be asked, and Tehseen says that the Congress may be making a mistake here by not asking those questions and then providing this fodder with the Bitu episode. What do you say, Dilip?
My sense is that this fodder outside Parliament was childish and immaturely handled. You'd certainly, and also a lot is lost in translation. You have a traitor in a class, you have a traitor in a football match, but when you use the word, when it's translated into Gaddar, as the Prime Minister has done in his speech, then it sounds a lot more ominous and dangerous. So, in a sense, Rahul has fallen into that trap, and it has the point, set and match almost to the Prime Minister. Is there a sort of the imagery of a leader of the opposition doing that kind of thing is really not great optics, but what is even more foolish is the sight of his so-called advisors standing there and egging him on like, not very bright people. That is the sadder part, and that is there for everybody to see. So, but the Prime Minister's reluctance to speak in the Lok Sabha, I think, will go down in history unless the Speaker is able to defend what he is supposed to have advised the Prime Minister on. He will need to quote chapter, verse, and evidence to actually make up for this huge lapse in parliamentary behavior. This is not the way it's done. So taking the debate into the Rajya Sabha is one way of making sure that you get unbroken sound bites for the length of the speech, but that isn't going to get very much more. And unfortunately, I'm sure you'll come to it in the next segment, but the speech itself was really a throwback, almost like Throwback Thursday all over again.
Okay, we'll come in detail, as you mentioned, Dilip, to Modi's speech, to the Prime Minister's speech. Tehseen, because I know you have to hop off, I'm just going to allow you a quick one more word with the panel's consent and then come to everybody else. here's the thing that Dilip says. He says the two things are different. He thinks Rahul made a
Yeah.
mistake. He made a mistake on the Bitu issue. He and his advisors. He clearly provided the BJP an issue on a platter. But he thinks that the Prime Minister uh, should have spoken in the Lok Sabha, and nothing that we've heard from the Speaker is actually convincing. What do you say?
No doubt about it. I've tweeted that. In fact, I put out a bite saying that if the speaker has evidence, he's duty bound to act. As I said in my opening remarks, an physical attack on the prime minister is criminal. Parliament immunity does not prevent you from acts of criminality. So if he has the names of those who are going to attack the prime minister, he must put it out and we have to act against them. If he doesn't have the name, he must put out the evidence or the intelligence that he had of who those MPs were who were likely to attack the prime minister, and not via sources. He is duty bound to put it out. The prime minister is duty bound to speak in Lok Sabha, and the prime minister not speaking, I completely concur with Dilip, is an insult to we the people. He had to answer questions. He's escaped. But the other part also that I'm saying, what happened with Rahul ji is not just parliament. It's also, there's a second part to it. Mamata Banerjee, a sitting chief minister, was arguing in the Supreme Court of India. When has that happened? First time. And all the news cycle was what happened at Bitu. So you must understand who benefits is the BJP who keeps running away from the news cycle. We need to get the BJP on the mat. Barkha, all of us here, BJP supporters or Congress supporters like me, have zero clue for this so-called trade deal is. And the only answer Piyush Goyal ji gave us is, आपको मिर्ची लगी, ममता बनर्जी इज एंटी इंडिया, स्टालिन को सबक सिखाए गए, इंडिया अलायंस को हरा देंगे. अरे भाई वो सब ठीक है ब्रो, आप बताओ डील क्या हुआ? No idea, nothing. And we've allowed the BJP to escape. That is what pisses me off. But yes, the Prime Minister must speak in Parliament and Lok Sabha. He cannot not speak in Lok Sabha. If after 11 years of government, the Prime Minister is not safe to speak in his own Parliament, I think we should question ourselves as a democracy.
Okay, I want to come to Sandeep and then Madhavan and Shogata, but and Tehseen, hop off whenever you need to. What did the Speaker really say? You've heard very irate comments from Tehseen, very firm argument from Dilip that the Prime Minister should have spoken in the Lok Sabha. Om Birla says the MPs were planning something, and he's the one who asked the Prime Minister not to speak. Let's listen in.
जब सदन के नेता को सम्माननीय महामहिम राष्ट्रपति के अभिभाषण पर जवाब देना था, तो मेरे पास पुख्ता ऐसी जानकारी आई कि कांग्रेस पार्टी के कई सदस्य माननीय प्रधानमंत्री जी के आसन पर पहुंचकर कोई भी अप्रत्याशित घटना कर सकते थे. ये दृश्य मैंने सदन में देखा भी सही. अगर ये घटना हो जाती तो ये अत्यंत अप्रिय दृश्य देश के लोकतांत्रिक परंपराओं को तार कर देता. इसको टालने के लिए मैंने माननीय प्रधानमंत्री से आग्रह किया कि उन्हें सदन में नहीं आना चाहिए.
All right, let me bring in Sandeep at this point. Sandeep, as somebody who mostly admires and supports the Prime Minister, do you believe, we spoke about Rahul Gandhi's advisors. Somebody, in this case, the Speaker, advised the Prime Minister not to come to the Lok Sabha. Do you believe that was an error? After all, Prime Minister Modi has dealt with a raucous opposition, a shouting opposition, more times than he can count. What is the big deal if he had come, made the same speech in the Lok Sabha, even if the opposition had shouted or walked out? This has created a narrative that surely the BJP also did not need.
Barkha, while Tehseen and Dilip all asked for evidence, I wouldn't put it beyond the Congress in its present belligerent mode. I think they are, whether it's Rahul Gandhi inside the parliament, outside the parliament, if you hear, I think they are in for a showdown. And since they're not able to have political showdown in terms of elections, etc., they are trying to now make a spectacle of it on camera, on television, etc., to show that, their macho self, some kind of a rebellion. So I wouldn't, and given again the current state of maturity of the Congress and this attitude of sycophantic attitude, like you said, talked about this Bitu episode when others were egging Rahul Gandhi on. This kind of a mentality is also, everybody is trying to impress the boss, going two steps ahead. And so I wouldn't have ruled out whether the speaker had any intelligence or not, but I wouldn't have ruled out any such misdemeanor
So you're actually saying that you don't put it past the realm of speculation.
and and if it
Congress,
happened,
let me complete let me understand what you're saying. You're not necessarily saying that the Congress wanted to physically harm the Prime Minister. You're saying the Congress may have encircled the Prime Minister's seat or done something like that that would have given them a headline. Is that what you're saying? I'm just saying it
it
won't be the
would.
first time that opposition MPs ran to the well of the House, for instance.
No, it would have been more than that. And if things went out of control, I think it would have been a very, very unfortunate and embarrassing thing for not only the Prime Minister, but Indian Parliament and Indian politics. It would have set a new low. And to that extent, if discretion prevailed, I don't see, a problem in that. We can always, this is counterfactual things, what could have happened, what wouldn't have happened. But to expose the Prime Minister to that sort of an embarrassment, or if people did try to heckle him physically or otherwise, I think that would have been a very sad spectacle for the country, for the democracy, as well as the stature of Indian Parliament. So if somebody acted in abandoned caution, or on the erred on the side of excess in that, I wouldn't fault them for it. We can always say, but you look at the converse, the counterfactual thing. If something like that would have happened, what would have been the consequences, not just for the PM or thing, but a country as a whole? I think that's.
Okay. Let's get reactions to that, because Dilip totally disagreed with the decision to not have the Prime Minister speak in the Lok Sabha. I'll get him. Madhavan, in the hope that your connection is stable, do you want to respond to what Sandeep has said?
Yeah.
That what is the big difference? The Prime Minister spoke. He spoke
Yeah.
in the Rajya Sabha. He just didn't speak in the Lok Sabha, and the Speaker was
Listen,
well within his rights to take a decision based on, avoiding an unseemly, inelegant, ugly situation in the House.
let me first begin by saying, Barkha, I hope you can hear me. Is this fine? I hope you can hear me. Yeah. See, counterfactuals are not my domain today. I want to focus on what is evidenced very clearly. And to me, I was actually planning to come to your show and criticize Rahul Gandhi, but I'm afraid I'm going to refrain from it because Tehseen Poonawalla and Dilip have said a lot on it. I could only agree with it. The style and attitude of Rahul Gandhi leaves much to be desired. Having said that, let me say what Rahul Gandhi did sounded like a poorly done stand-up comedy act. What Modi did was a politically calculated nautanki. And I think this was all stage managed well, because in the absence of evidence, I cannot go by ifs and buts and speaker trying to create a imagery that some kind of violence will take place. I think, and more important than that, let me focus on what the Prime Minister said. First of all, I have a problem with words like traitor, whether it's used by Rahul Gandhi or by BJP as a point. We are living in a modern democracy, and words like traitor and gaddar have no place, which are feudal based on feudal blind loyalties. People have a right to change their opinions and perspectives. And what Rahul Gandhi did was immature for sure. But what Modi did was to turn the whole thing without factual basis to an anti-Sikh act, because Congress, let's go back to Indira Gandhi. She said that Satwant Singh and Byan Singh should not be removed as a guard. Then later the Congress made Manmohan Singh the Prime Minister for 10 years. And but what Modi has done is to cleverly use this as a ploy to bounce back in Punjab politics by maybe thinking of allying with Akali Dal
Sorry,
again.
Madhavan, you have a
So
you have a
therefore,
terrible
whatever
you have
Mr.
a-
Modi does.
yeah. Sorry, your network is pretty bad. But
Better? Is this any better? Okay. Oh,
complete your point.
yeah. My mic is muted. Hello. You can hear
No,
me?
complete your point. Yes, we can. We can.
Yeah. Yeah, I think let's look at the fact that Modi is using this as a point to bounce back in Punjab politics. And I agree with my fellow panelists that substantive issues on US trade deal or budget or Mamta Banerjee's appearance in Supreme Court are being sidetracked. But let's face it, media management is being better done by BJP using all sorts of tricks in the bad. I call it Operation Ashwatthama. Goes back to the Mahabharata, where you shout Ashwatthama has been slain. It turns out to be an elephant and not the son of Drona. So this is the Mahabharata formula being worked out shrewdly by the BJP. BJP deserves credit for shrewd politics, but Mr. Modi has also used words like 50 crore ki girlfriend, kapdon se pehchane jayenge. Mr. Modi, while in opposition, wasn't exactly covering himself with glory while using phrases that were controversial. But they were not childish. They were shrewd. What Rahul Gandhi has done is to he neither gains from it nor the Congress gains from it. It is an off-the-cuff remark, better done in a St. Stephen cafeteria. It's not something that you would expect in a national parliament.
As a Stephanian, one minute. As a Stephanian, I have to take great objections to this suggestion that this comment is served better along with mince and nimbu pani in St. Stephen's Cafe. No, I think the comment was highly arrogant, if I may say so, and not politically smart. I think the point you make is the operative one.
I said it in a different language. I think you're talking about an entitled PLU, people like us, kid talking to fellow people. It's not. It doesn't have the sense of gravitas that one would expect from a opposition leader.
Absolutely.
And
okay, Madhva, I'm going to jump in because again,
followers call him future Prime Minister.
Yeah, let me take this to Sugata, who also is on a terrible line today. Sugata, if you can hear me, what are your big observations of all that has transpired in the last 24 hours?
Thank you, Barkha. Sorry for the line, but then I heard most of the comments that were made. I think there is an excessive focus on the panel on the traitor remark that Modi made. But when I heard Modi's speech, I think there was a very sharp focus on election-bound states. See, for example, Kerala, he spoke about Sadanand Master and spoke very evocatively about it, and the house was, thumping. Then he spoke about Assam. He said several times that this was what had transpired was, in the house, was an insult to Assam, insult to the people of Northeast. And then he picked up the name of Bhupen Hazarika, and he again reiterated that point. And then he also spoke about West Bengal. So, he was very, very, I think it's Madhavan who used the word shrewd. Yes, they were extremely shrewd. But in 11 or 12 years, if you don't realize what your opponent is going to do, if you take repeated missteps, then, you're to blame. And Rahul Gandhi, when the parliament began this time, Barkha, I was expecting, at least after the break and after the deal and all that, I thought the Congress will come equipped to the parliament either to do two things. One was, I thought they will speak about Manrega because they have forced a special session in Bangalore, in Karnataka, to discuss the G bill and protest and all that. So they were completely, that's about their legacy, and I thought they'll come and defend that, come and speak against that, protest on that. But they did not open their mouth on that. See, and when and what is the issue that they were picking up? A memoir, an unpublished memoir of a general who's forgotten? And is that going to connect you with any mass that will be voting this season? See, there has to be some kind of prudence and judgment. And I don't think advisors have any role in Rahul Gandhi's darbar. It's Rahul Gandhi gets up in the morning and decides on some kind of, I increasingly feel, Barkha, I'm sorry to say this, he is fetishized. I think he has a fetish with the word courage. He thinks he is courageous and everybody against him or opposite of him is the darpok or something like that.
So you're saying that General Naravane's book, which he has picked up as an issue, is a non-issue in election season.
Absolutely. Because you had it was the finest moment of Modi because the EU trade deal had been signed, had been agreed upon. See, whatever the details of the the Indo-US deal, Trump had tweeted that the tariffs had come down to 18%. So Modi was on a high. So when initially they made the right noise, they said the farmers are being compromised. I thought they will push a discussion on those lines, but they did not do that. See, to take that line of compromise, the word itself that has been used, a lot of words like Gaddar is being debated, but I have a basic problem with the word compromise.
I think one of the reasons,
Barkha,
if I may say, one of the reasons the trade deal cannot be debated right now is because very little is known about it. In the sense
correct. You
that
could
we
have
have
forced the government.
we have just the announcements by the two principals, and we
That's right.
actually do not know the fine print. It will come when the
Correct.
joint statement comes. So we
Correct.
specifically can't argue about whether agriculture is protected or not, because we
Barkha,
don't know the answer to that right now.
But if you're the opposition, you can extract a few details from the government. You can actually bring it to the parliament, and you could have asked that you said this, Trump is saying this, there is a contradiction. Why don't you answer on that? You could have actually, bringing the farmers issue central or the Manrega issue to the center would have had a greater kind of resonance. And also, Barkha, see, the whole of last session was lost on vote chori. Now, your ally, your India alliance ally, Mamata Banerjee is in Delhi. She is physically going to the Supreme Court to argue on SIR and similar issues that you've been talking about. And you don't even, join her in solidarity. What kind of an alliance are you talking about? See, they're messing up Tamil Nadu alliance similarly. But, with Mamata, just because they're not going to fight with her as an alliance partner in the state elections, they don't even want to join her in solidarity.
I think this point on Mamata Banerjee, two excellent points have been made. One by you, where is the Congress in showing solidarity in the Supreme Court? Two, earlier, the point made that the whole Ravneet Bitu thing actually changed. Mamata Banerjee in the Supreme Court would have been a big headline, but it got dwarfed by this Ravneet Bitu traitor fracas. Now, I want to play out another very strong, at least sort of in terms of eloquence, dramatic moment from the Prime Minister's speech today. Dilip says that the Prime Minister's speech was a kind of throwback speech. Let me play out this clip and come right back to all of you. Take a look.
मोहब्बत की दुकान खोलने वाले मोदी तेरी कब्र खुदेगी के नारे लगा रहे हैं। ये कौन सी मोहब्बत की दुकान है जो देश के ही किसी नागरिक के कब्र खोदने के सपने देखती हो? ये कौन सा संविधान से उन्होंने सीखा है जो देश के ही किसी नागरिक के कब्र खोदने की बात करते हो? क्या ये संविधान का अपमान नहीं है? क्या ये मानवता का अपमान नहीं है? क्या ये सार्वजनिक जीवन की मर्यादाओं का अपमान नहीं है? और उनको इसका कोई खेद नहीं है। अगर इसके बाद क्या बयान देंगे? बयान देखो, प्रधानमंत्री राज्यसभा में भी रो रहा था। किस प्रकार के संस्कार और वृत्तियों से पले बड़े लोग हैं ये।
All right, so now let me come to Dilip. Dilip, I want you to respond to Sandeep's point that actually the speaker did nothing wrong, but actually show some circumspection. And what is wrong with that? Because the Prime Minister made the speech in the Rajya Sabha that he would have in the Lok Sabha. So substantively, what has changed except the speaker avoiding some sort of ungainly scenes? How do you respond to that?
In the Prime Minister's speech itself, he says for the last 35 years, every single session of Parliament has included an attack on him. So he is no stranger to attack. Om Birla has, in a sense, decided to elevate himself. I don't know what he is aspiring to, but by seeming to protect the body and the prestige of the Prime Minister's office, he has not covered himself with glory, is what I feel. But I think that the fact that the Prime Minister was able to convert this into an attack on himself, and he himself says that they will now say that I came to the Rajya Sabha and wept. But that is classic, and it plays well for his audience. There's no doubt about that. The fact that there is no opposition in the benches to heckle or to respond or to be spoken to is yet another disadvantage. But to be able to get unbroken time like this in the Rajya Sabha and to be able to do it at as close to prime time as possible is a huge advantage. And I think the Prime Minister used that effectively.
I think that's the point, Madhavan, that as much as you said you came here to criticize Rahul Gandhi, but instead you refrained from that because enough of that was done. Let me first actually get Sandeep, because Sandeep, you believe that Om Birla did well. Om Birla took an appropriate measure in the circumstances. What did you make of the Prime Minister's speech? Did you, and contrasting it with the issues that the opposition is picking up? You see, Rahul Gandhi has targeted the government over the trade deal. But as I said, we cannot have an informed debate about this trade deal till we know more. And we have to wait for that. We don't, all we know is that the tariffs have been slashed from 50 to 18%, point one. We know that there's a thaw between Modi and Trump, point two. And point three, the data from Reuters shows you that by December, our purchase of Russian oil imports were down by 22% to their lowest level ever in 2 years. These are three things that we know. Beyond this, we don't know much. Sandeep.
So, Barkha, since let's start from your question. While these things are not known, there are two parts to it. Then don't go all out in social media, etc., to say that Modi, is being dictated by Trump, and why is Trump announcing? So there you make a point, and you don't speak about it at all when you come to Parliament. As Sugata said, you may not be having the details, but that's precisely the question you can ask. This is what the US president has said. What is the government's reaction? Just like people have asked outside and the MEA has responded, Jaishankar has responded, maybe the government would have given a similar, that itself would have been a response to say, hang on, things have not yet been finalized, wait till we put ink on paper, and then we'll come back and talk to you. Today is not the last day of Parliament. We can get back. So that would have been a very, very mature response. What is happening is, I wouldn't be as charitable as Sugata to say Rahul Gandhi doesn't listen to anyone's advice. Rahul Gandhi is listening to the advice of this small coterie. They are the people, the cheerleaders whom you again see in social media, but none of them have any political acumen. They are all, some of them are, they've all come, rootless wonders come from various places, and each one trying to gain their moment in, hoping a Rajya Sabha seat will come their way if they get very belligerent over there. These are the people he's listening to. Whereas BJP, as you said, whether we agree with the response or not, whether we think it's clever, too clever, or whatever Madhavan, the terms he used, they are playing a very, very well orchestrated and choreographed game. So be it, Amit Shah and Rajnath Singh's response in Lok Sabha, and whether it's a Nishikant Dubey coming with the whole bag full of books, everything, they are doing it in a very, very well choreographed manner. And today, agreeing with Dilip, I found the Prime Minister's speech, the first half, was very lackluster and repetitive, etc. But you see, again, as Sugata pointed out, he was very clear where he is going to make capital of this whole thing. So starting by each one of the points, I thought in a way it's trivia to say that, on the chair you had this person from Assam who was insulted, the person on the chair was from Andhra, he was insulted, everywhere, and then coming to Bitu, of course, and playing it up, saying it's insulting and the Sikhs. There was another thing about women, Dalit women whom you... So he took everybody on, and this each small, a straw, he converted it into a weapon and a dart and threw back at Congress. So that is where Congress is missing the point. And my worry about, Barkha, I'll end with this. Parliament functioning had become a farce due to all these walkouts and everything. But today, unfortunately, nobody expects or listens to any serious discussion in Parliament. Earlier, at least certain things, okay, you had a few standoffs or anything, but there were matters of substance being discussed, which the nation heard, everybody heard. Today, tell me, even when something of substance is being discussed, half the time you find Congress moving a motion, they are not even in the House after that. And nobody is therefore pays attention to any parliament discussion, be it in Lok Sabha, Rajya Sabha, on matters of national importance. Parliament has become a circus, and it is only for that. Do we discuss here, even in your kind of a show, some serious matter which was raised in the parliament, and what are the views of people? Every time
Yeah.
we're discussing this kind of a circus.
Yeah, because it has all become very theatrical, and I do take that point. And politics is a lot of theater, but Parliament used to be a space where you could still get serious discussions going. And I think Sandeep's point is well taken, that we've lost that. Let's start taking closing comments. Unfortunately, Madhavan, I'll start with you, then Sugata, and I'll give Dilip the closing word. Madhavan, I think your point was precise. The Prime Minister, as opposition leader, may have been course, as you said, but it was to a plan. There was a plan.
Yeah.
Rahul Gandhi's handed over fodder on Mr. Bitu to the BJP, and on the trade deal, the questions haven't been asked. Is the point being made here? And third, Sugata says, who cares about this General Naravne's book? Which voting population cares about it?
Yeah. Yeah, I think, Barkha, it's important to remember that theater is part of politics, but you need a script and you need choreography, as Sandeep said very well. So we need a certain plan with a very clear focus on how you're going to talk to the lower middle class, how you're going to talk to the villagers, how you're going to talk to the urban chattering classes. There is no planning in what is happening in Congress. There is no communication strategy. And that is where Congress fails miserably. Well, the BJP is even using counterfactuals, hypothetical situations, and rough cuts of history. Let me take an example of trade deal itself. The Congress could have gone back to the farm bills and said, look what they tried to do with the farmers, and therefore we are apprehensive. That could have been better communication than mere stonewalling and randomizing this whole criticism. I think they do not have a clear mind on where to say the facts, where to show attitude. An entitled inherited brat, and they are doing nothing to undo the image, and if anything, they are only enhancing that image. So all the Bharat Jodo Yatra, all this working and sitting with the underprivileged comes to a naught if you're seen as an inheritor and not as someone who's really speaking for the people. And that needs a proper strategy that's completely missing in Congress.
Okay, let me get Sugata.
There's no follow-up to Bharat Jodo Yatra.
Got it. Sugata, in terms of how this is going to play out politically, if you say General Naravne is an esoteric issue, some might argue so is foreign policy. Of course, the tariffs directly impact the economy, and therefore it becomes a tactile issue. But as I keep saying, a lot of people don't understand, except for exporters themselves right now, what the consequences of this might be.
Yeah, Barkha, I mean, I agree with you on that we don't have the details yet. But the thing is that without the details, Rahul Gandhi has been calling Modi compromised. So how does Rahul Gandhi know? Is he privy to the details of the trade deal? No. So he is jumping the gun to call him compromised. If he does not have the details, then he should have waited before he used the word compromised. So Barkha, I mean, I agree with both Madhavan and Sandeep ji. When let me recall what happened when the nuclear deal was being done. See, the left was accusing Manmohan Singh of having compromised, but still the parliament debated what that compromise was. See, you still have such lovely debates on how the nuclear bill was achieved. See, the major charge at that time against the Congress was compromise, selling the country to the United States. So that was the major line of attack. And Congress was smart at that point. They even put up a Lalu Prasad Yadav to defend them. Right? So if you're using the word compromise, I think you have to be extremely careful because then you can accuse even Nehru of having taken Kashmir to the UN, or all kinds of compromises come up, and every prime minister looks compromised. So the problem started with Rahul Gandhi and the Congress, that they started talking about this bill or this trade deal as a compromised one without knowing the details. So they should have come to Parliament and asked for what is that? Why is it that Trump has suddenly slashed the thing? What have you done so that he slashes the whole thing? And even as Sandeep was speaking now, Barkha, I was just calculating today in his speech, the Prime Minister has portrayed Congress having insulted 37% of India's population. Northeast Assam, Kerala, West Bengal, Andhra, and then the tribal states, except Tamil Nadu, which is also going to elections. He spoke about every other thing. So see, the Congress is allowing BJP to do, whatever may be the problems with the BJP. We know all the problems. We have been speaking about it continuously, but you're giving them a platform to pursue and persist on those lines. And then the other thing is, Barkha, on social media, ever since this whole compromise business started, the Congress has done something absolutely dangerous, which is they have produced AI videos of Modi or Narwane, that debate or the trade thing. See what happens tomorrow if the BJP's social media cell comes out with similar AI videos, and they've gone to such an extent they're using Subramaniam Swamy. They're retweeting Subramaniam Swamy, and you know what Subramaniam Swamy's accusation against half the family is. So this is dangerous. It is being done mindlessly. Rahul Gandhi's fetishization of his own courage is actually, creating a problem for the Congress party. And I am absolutely sad that they have, they're mindless. There's no application, and they've completely, lost the whole debate. So that's my take.
Okay, let me give Dilip the closing word. We do have to close there. A lot of people are making the argument that a Mamata Banerjee going to Supreme Court is something concrete to do. It is a more productive intervention, a more grassroots, intervention. It is also, you might argue theatrical, but it is, as, somebody said, theater with a script. Closing word to you, how do you see this playing out in the next few days?
Since you brought up Mamata Banerjee, I think her message was very clearly for her cadres. Here is a leader who comes out to the very battle lines and is willing to battle there for the fact that SIR is disenfranchising a large number of her people. So to that extent, whatever result she may get from the Supreme Court is less important than the optics of it back home in Bengal, where the elections are. Exactly what Sugata said, the pointing out of the person from Kerala, the pointing out of the Sikh, all of that is actually theatrics designed for elections which are very close. Now, if you, on the one hand, you say Parliament is not being used to debate the big issues, the other factor is that Parliament is being used as a kind of quasi stomping ground to set up the electoral platforms for elections which are coming up, which people can equally argue is a democratic exercise. But the fact is that the Lok Sabha and the Rajya Sabha are meant to take elevated discussions, to take it up to a notch higher, and that is unfortunately the government's job to do and not the opposition's job to do. So in many senses, we need to recognize and lay the blame where the blame is. The Prime Minister, as I said, had the opportunity to give a great speech. He decided to use it for the purposes that he did. But in the next few days, my sense is that we will go back to politics as usual, and this drama will just fade from the public eye too fast.
Okay, we leave it there. I think the next round of questions, even if they're not asked inside Parliament, will be around the trade deal when more details of it are available. And, I hope that Parliament may have a constructive conversation on that. But given the theatrics right now, that doesn't seem very plausible or possible. Thank you very much, Sugata, Madhavan, Dilip, and Sandeep. It's been a pleasure. And earlier to Tehseen, thank you very much. And to our audience, thank you and see you tomorrow. It's great to see you here. Thank you for watching our work. If you haven't subscribed yet, don't forget to click the bell icon and subscribe to Mojo Story and support independent, robust journalism.